Hello and welcome to Qubit Tech Talk, August 2022. I'm Josh Mandeville, CTO for Qubit Networks. And I have with me network security analyst Sean Bolton with Qubit Networks. Today we're going to talk about something that both of us enjoy doing quite a bit, and that's PC gaming.
Absolutely.
How are you doing today, Sean?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself, Josh?
Doing great. I know you're a gaming enthusiast. Yeah, you probably have a little more time than I do right now because I have kids and all that. But like, how is gaming?
It's changed drastically since I started all the way back in the late 90s. But nowadays, I mean, the sheer amount of story and artwork and passion that goes into like just even indie gamer, like which is like small company gaming, just it astounds me. And there's always something new around the corner that I never thought I'd be into. That just blows me away.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, lugging your PCs around, hooking them up to play games with your friends, and I thought back then that the graphics and the artwork and everything was amazing back then, and now it's so realistic and amazing. And there's, like you said, a lot of indie guys that are just blowing my mind. What type of games do you like to play, or is your more of an eclectic taste?
I mean, it really depends, because there's times where I just want to play a first person shooter. There's other times where I'm more RPG based, a lot of role playing games I really enjoy. Oh man, I'm trying to remember what one. The one I've recently been playing was V Rising, which is a survival type game, and but you play as a vampire. So like during the day you have to hide in the shadows and stay away from the fire and stuff. And they have a really good like level up mechanic, and like the staying alive mechanic of having to feed all the time is really interesting too. So
I was looking at that one. Just I think you might have mentioned it to me.
Yeah,
Who is that one? Who's the maker of that one?
Studio. That's a good question. I believe they are. I'm trying to remember what else they've made, but that is Stunlock Studios is the publisher for that. I don't know what else they've made. I've not like really heard of it, or I'm not sure if this is and let me see here. Might be they were founded in 2010.
Cool.
Yeah,
I never heard of them before this game. So
yeah, they it looks like they did a lot of like MOBA games. So like Battle Royale, Bloodline Champions, that like free to play online arena type games. They also made a Dead Island Epidemic game too, which is really interesting. I've heard
pre-COVID.
yeah, pre-COVID for that.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, they've got a lot of really good stuff.
That's awesome. Before I'm going to jump into like what you're looking forward to, but just curious what your thoughts are on hardware. I know you have a nice gaming rig. What hardware are you running there?
I'm running AMD 5800 5800X CPU and a RTX 3080. I currently have a 3080 Ti, which this is a GeForce 3080. Their Ti version is like the next step up before you go to like their 3090. I have it at home. It is too big for my current case, so I actually need to upgrade my outer shell of my case so I can move things around, because my water cooler is just like half an inch, like too deep to go. And so I'm like, all right, I have to buy a brand new case and move everything over into this new case in order to get that going. And then
that's exactly why I have the 3080 Ti. That's why I moved to this bigger case. Because there was just not enough room to get the water cooling rad in the top and it just didn't have enough room.
Yeah, mine has a water cooler side mounted, because the case I have is a side mount like vent on it. Because the top of it is actually where the power supply is. So it had a top compartment over the top of it, and then you could open up the side. When you open up the back side, you actually slot in your power supply unit in the back, and then the cables feed down the back into the case. Yeah. So
well, if you're looking for a bigger case, this is a Airflow 5000D. I just remembered.
Okay. Airflow
definitely fit it.
It looks beautiful. I actually really enjoy the look of it. So yeah, I have a Roswell 300 or something, a Roswell something Prism.
Okay.
I really like their.
Yeah, I really like their stuff.
I think that's what it was, right? S500. Yeah, that looks right. The Roswell Prism 500, S500. I did enjoy it too, but it's just too small for what I need. Well, it's a mid sized tower, but it just I
will say that the 3080 Ti is I mean, I turn up the lights a little more. I don't know if you can see how it's a big card, and even in this, it was sagging. So I watched a Jay's 2 cents video. He does a lot of custom water cooling for PCs. I didn't do a custom. I just bought a AIO all-in-one radiator.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
He gave a tip of taking the little spacers that come out of the back of your PC, or for the card slots, and putting that under, because there's a whole third row on that 3080 Ti.
Yeah.
To add those spacers in as to like lift up the card from the back. And it does. It worked. It totally fixes it. Yeah, it like sturdied out the front, because that front's all metal except for that third row is kind of like soft, and it kind of pushes in. He's like, put this in there, and it totally made the card straight, stop sagging. I was like,
oh, that's nice.
Well, that was a cheap fix. So keep those little slots.
That extra weight on the motherboard.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm running a 5950X, which is a little slower for gaming, but it has more cores for video editing and stuff.
Yeah, which I know you do that, and any like processing things are very good for those 59s. Yeah,
I run a lot of VMs, and I run GNS3 for networking stuff.
Yeah.
I got the 3080 Ti, like we talked about, and 96 gigs of RAM. I bought 64 gig kick. I don't need it. Yeah. I really needed 64.
That's the same for me. I bought 32 gigs, and I was just like, well, it was on sale, and they were
That's
good. Why. Yeah. So I was like, I needed to go up from, I think I was sitting at it was 16 before, but when I bought I'm trying to remember. I think when I bought the motherboard, it was like, we'll throw in these sticks with it. And I was like, okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Sometimes you get those deals and you just can't pass them up.
Yeah.
Do you RGB at all? Or are you going to get into it if you change cases?
So if I do change cases, there are some like RGB ideas that I kind of have. Like I want to get the separate strips and actually set it on a remote, so then I can change it that way. Because right now that old Prism one is
inside there.
Yeah, the Prism one that had the little button on the top that you can press to change the colors and things like that. But I would love to have a remote, so I don't have to reach over and try and grab that. Like mine's under desk mounted, like type of where I keep my PC.
So I will say there's a program called Signal RGB that you can get rid of all of your Corsair, EVGA. I think I have a Asus ROG motherboard, and you have to have different controllers for all the RGB for all those different things. Signal RGB allows me to control all of them, and including Corsair has a USB header adapter that you can plug in for all the strips.
Oh, that's nice.
So now I control it all with an app called Signal, so I can just change it to, this is called Fire Embers.
Yeah, God, I love that.
And then you can get all of the different things to work together, which was Like
really?
that was the biggest problem, was getting them all to actually, like you can see
fully
like
synced up.
how they sync up. Yeah.
Yeah, like
And
mine is you can see the all-in-one cooler, which I think I have a Corsair all-in-one cooler as well.
So if you buy some LS or some Corsair lighting strips, you can put them in and they can get them to sync up. I know it doesn't have anything affect your gaming at all.
Hey, it affects my gaming.
It's just kind of cool.
It affects my gaming, especially when I'm distracted by the pretty lights. So, and it will match up with the RGB keyboard and the RGB mouse, and yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Although I went away because I love, what is this? A Ballistics X Hyperspeed, a Razer mouse. I love this wireless mouse. It has 0 RGB on the mouse. I had the RGB mice and I just kept going, I don't like it. I didn't like the mouse feel. So it's the only RGB thing I don't have is my mouse, but my keyboard it has RGB. Honestly, I just keep it all one color. I don't have it. I don't have my keyboard changing.
Yeah, I have the I'm trying to remember the specific kind of mouse. I have 2 mice. So I have a mouse for my first person shooters, and then I have a mouse for my MOBAs. The mouse for my MOBA is the Razer what is it called? Razer Naga Chroma, I think.
Yeah.
I think
that's the real lightweight one.
Yeah, and you can do wireless. It has a charging station, but most of the time I just have it hardwired all the time because I can see the slight delay. When you play games for so long, you can see the slight delay of transmitting from a wireless to that. So then you're just like, all right, no, just got to hardwire.
So for those that don't know, what does MOBA stand for? What does that mean?
MOBA, that is, I gotta look up the actual acronym because I'm so used to saying it all the time. That is games like man, what is it called? League of Legends and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
It stands for Multiplayer Online Battle Arena. So Dota.
I knew it had some. I knew Arena was in there, but I couldn't remember the rest.
Yeah,
so like Dota, League of Legends,
Smite, Heroes of the Storm, which is Blizzard's
I played that version. A little.
Yeah,
which is your favorite MOBA?
I'm really, here's the thing. I love League of Legends. I love it when I get to play with all of my friends. I do not like playing online because it is a toxic environment online. But I really, they just do such a great job with that. So that was a really good one. And then Heroes of the Storm, I really got into, which is really nice because you get to play as all your favorite characters, Diablo and Jim Raynor from Diablo, Jim Raynor from StarCraft, and they brought in some characters from World of Warcraft, and it's like all of their big franchises all brought into one game. So
cool. Yeah, I think I've played that. I've played it a little, and I keep saying I want to play that game.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Elden Ring.
Such a good game.
I played Elden Ring for a little while when it came out, just because the graphics are stunning.
Oh yeah.
I've been playing now that God of War got ported over to the PC.
Yeah.
I'm playing that. That's just
one of the few awesome games that I 100%ed, just because I enjoyed it so much. I went through and played it once on regular mode, and then went back through on the not regular mode. It's like the right underneath the hardest mode you can play. I played once through that, and then I went back through, and I was like halfway through the game on the hardest difficulty, and it was getting to that point where I was like, I need to step away from this game because now I'm getting too angry.
Games have a tendency to do that.
Yeah.
I've always loved team games where you're a team, such TFT, back in the day, Doom and Quake 3 when they had weapons factory.
Unreal Tournament.
I always loved it. Yeah, I loved, and Um, Valorant now. I've kind of stepped away from the CS:GO and Valorant type of games because it always just seems, I don't know, seems less satisfying than the old TFT. So of course I like Overwatch, and I'm really looking forward to Overwatch 2 since they're switching it up. Like I like that where you have to play teams where you're relying on other people to do things and you're working as a team together to accomplish a goal. I like those type of games.
It's definitely like my all-time favorite thing is like I enjoy some PvP games where it's like one team versus another team. I enjoy some of games like that. My all-time favorite though is a game that has just cooperative things. So it's like me and three of my friends online, or me and my other like 7 or 8 people that I play with. Like we can all get into a singular game together, and then it's like, okay, let's work together to achieve these. Like Ark is a very popular, it's a
that's a great
survival game with dinosaurs and all that jazz, and you like kind of work as this big team together to knock out dinosaurs and tame them, so then you can build up your place even better, and you go through the ages of like starting out with just like wood and branches and stuff to build your houses, all the way up to like concrete and steel and things along those lines.
I didn't realize it went that far. That's awesome.
Yeah, you can get like an entire elevator service set up. You get refrigeration, and you have to like actually put in AC cooling into rooms so you can because you can actually breed a lot of the animals and stuff like that are in the game. So you like take their eggs and then move them into an AC cooled room, so you don't have to worry about the temperature at all. And
you're doing this all with your friends online cooperatively.
Yeah. So we have awesome. One person who hosts the game online, and then on whichever server, seeing as we're all techies and gamers. If somebody always has some server spun up for one game or the other, whether it's Ark or Minecraft or any of the sorts. But yeah, we would all get together, usually play on the weekends together, and do that. That really helped during the pandemic, because being able to spend time with your friends, even though they're you have to stay away from your friends, was very, very vital. It kept me going.
No, that the community that is online gaming. I have friends that I made back in the day. Speaking of cooperative games, the first one that I played that was truly made for the internet was Doom. Or no, I'm sorry, Diablo. Jeez.
Yeah.
Diablo
2.
Diablo and Diablo 2. That first Diablo and Diablo 2 on the internet, just playing with friends, trying to beat the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't have some of the most advanced stuff that you see today, but it was still just the idea of, hey, I got friends that I met in college or high school even, and that we stayed in touch, but everyone was all over the place in different places in their life, but we could still come together and play. And that was, I loved that about gaming.
Yeah, Diablo 2 definitely left a very big impression on video gaming for me, because it was one of those ones where I could get home, I could get on, I can play whether or not my friends are on. And then when they do get on, I can just flip it over into multiplayer mode and then go on, and we would all join a group together, and then we'd run around and try and grind out, get these special weapons, SOJs, the Stone of Jordans, that give you extra skill points. And
that's right.
Yeah.
Wow, that brings back memories.
Yeah. Well, they recently released
back from my
re-released it or whatever.
Oh, that's right. They remastered it.
Yeah.
I haven't played it since they remastered it. Is it better?
It is. Visually, it's very appeasing. It brings back a lot of good memories, and it also reminds me some of the things that I didn't like about the game. But at the same time, you can also hit a button on your keyboard and go from the brand new graphic mode to the old graphics. of it too.
Okay.
So it like reduces the size of the screen because they just, it was what like 4:3 or whatever, like because that was just how the graphics were. They can't really blow up something that that already
that's from
we were playing on those
when did
big
that come out?
That
that
was last year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
What
it was
was the
early
original?
last year or 22 or 2020 was the original came out. I want to say it had to be like late 90s, early 2000s.
That's what I was saying. I thought so too.
Because that was that had been around for quite some time, because that was a big thing when they came out with Diablo 3 was it had been like 15 years or 10 years or whatever since they released it.
It was 2000, the Diablo 2.
Yeah,
June 20th,
and then they came
2000.
Out. Dang, yeah, 2000. And then did they come out with an expansion after that too?
Yeah, they did. Several, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, 2001 was the Lord of Destruction, which was the only expansion they came out for with that game.
Okay. That was all right. Diablo 3 came out with a bunch of.
Yeah, Diablo 3 then came out much later, and that really changed. That was when they brought in like adventure modes, so you can go through and power through like levels with your friends and then just start grinding to get the best weapons, best gear.
I think
and then
they realized that
seasons, so you could like go through and actually get
oh yeah, that's right, the combination.
Yeah, they would like release some new thing every season, and it would be
gotta keep people coming back.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, that armor set that really sucked last time, well, we're allowing you to use these special skills, and now that armor set's really good. So you would like do a different build every single. Actually, I think a new season is supposed to be starting here shortly. We usually get like all of our friends all get together, and we have like about 8 people in total. So we'll do 2 separate groups and we'll have a single group usually that power levels through all the way up to level 70, which is the highest you can get. And then we split off into the other groups, and then we get everybody else up to that high level. But the fastest we've been able to do it last time was getting to level 70 in an hour and a half. Yeah, and that was I found a new way to do that, but I think they just patched that out.
They don't want you to get there that fast and just blow through the game.
World's First is like 30-45 minutes or something after their release date.
Well, there's guys that I've watched do Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate, all those speed runs that you're just like, and how the heck do they do it in like 21 minutes or something like that, and you're just like,
I really enjoy watching the like developers watch people do speed runs of their video games and just hearing them go, oh, they're doing this, we tried patching that out and that never really worked. Or
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Are there any games? I was looking forward to Elden Ring, and it came out, and it's pretty good. It is what I expected. Is there anything coming out that you're looking forward to still this year or early next year?
God of War Ragnarok, which is the second God of War. It's the 5th God of War, but it's the second of their new like reboot.
Graphics and everything.
Yeah, which I'm super excited about, because I very much love the Nordic religion, and like I'm like dealing with Thor and Odin and stuff like that. That's why I actually really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Valhalla, was because you got to play as a Viking. So there's that to it, and then so getting the continuation of that, and then the new Pokemon comes out, and that's Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I think that's what it is. And we every year, ever since I was a kid, I had Pokemon Yellow when it first came out, and I had got the Game Boy Color that went with it, and like just slowly, like Every single year, a new one coming out.
That was after my days in playing games as a kid. So I never have gotten into Pokemon, but I know a ton of people that are. My sons are into it. Yeah. I mean, there's so many people. It's multi-generational now.
Yep.
I have friends that do Pokemon with their kids. I mean, I played the card game with my kids because they love playing it. But the online stuff I never got into, and now my son's like, I want to do Pokemon Go, and
yeah. At least the Pokemon Go is one of the best things I think they've done, because it got me out running, like walking and doing circles like in nearby parks, but just so I could like hit certain things, and it got me to do a lot of exercise. So yeah.
Are you looking forward to any of the other, like the Baldur's Gate? Did you ever play those? I think Baldur's Gate 3 comes out. Yeah, Warhammer 40,000.
I think the newest Baldur's Gate, which came out, technically it's still in alpha or something like that, or beta or whatever, because they're still releasing all the different storylines and stuff. I bought it as soon as it dropped, because the people who did that also did, was it Pillars of Eternity or...
Oh, that's right. Yeah, one of those.
Or it was either Pillars of Eternity or Divinity, like Divinity Sin or whatever. They do really good like top down or third person like type of RPG based things like that. And I'm a big D&D fan, so when I heard they were coming out with the new Baldur's Gate, I instantly swiped that up.
I've not played. I've kind of been waiting for the alpha / beta to get over, and I was like, I'll play it then and let everyone else.
Yeah. The nice thing about getting in on the alpha side of things, though, is it's cheaper to buy it then, and you're guaranteed the copy when it comes out, and you get to try out all those different things. The only downside with Baldur's Gate is that you're running through the storyline, and they're like constantly releasing new parts of the story, or they're releasing new classes and new races and stuff, and each class and race all has different dialogue, different reactions with certain people in the games. Like there's just so much that goes into that.
Vast.
Yes, so very vast.
I don't know that they'll ever be done with it.
We've started like 5 different games, because it's another game that you can play co-op with your other friends. So like we would invite other people into the group, and we played as multiple different characters, and every single time there's been some sort of new like new dialogue that pops up, or we've just gone completely different like paths from the story that we did before, and it goes off in a different direction entirely. The first time we went through it, we were like found a druid town, and we were going through the town of druids and like talked to everybody there. Next one that we went through, we ran into like a goblin like town, and we had to fight through like waves of goblins and stuff.
I mean, it's a vast virtual world that they just keep adding to more.
Yeah,
I'm kind of looking forward to. I think it's Bethesda. I can't remember the name of it.
Their space one?
Yeah, Starfield.
Yeah, Starfield. I really can't wait.
It's supposed to be like Fallout, Elder Scrolls, but in space.
Yeah.
Like
what everybody
wants. I'm hoping it's that good.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait. I don't think I've ever really played a bad game from them. And I am definitely well, I say that Fallout 76 kind of fell hard.
Yeah, sorry. I kind of ignored that one.
Pretend like it doesn't happen. But Fallout 76 is good now, and they have a lot of questing and stuff, and NPCs to run into and stuff.
It took a few years for 76 to come around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm looking forward to that Starfield.
Yeah. Really, anything that has to do with space is always going to be great.
Well, and I'm really looking forward to Overwatch. That drops. Final Overwatch 2 drops in October.
Oh, it's in October? I haven't been following on that.
It's like October or something.
I saw that was going on. I know the new World of Warcraft expansion is going to be coming out probably in November, December. That's usually when they do theirs. So that's a big thing that I'm can't wait for. It's always every single year I buy the expansion. I get really hard into it for like 2 or 3 months, and then I just
Speaking of new games, how do you usually they list like requirements for your PC? What do you use to like look at? I use CPU-Z is a program you can download to like look at all your specs. What do you recommend that people use to look at your specs to see if you meet the minimum, hopefully the recommended requirements?
So a really nice one is systemrequirementslab.com, or can you run it is usually what I Google, and that's what will pop up. And the nice thing about that is you can just search for a game, and then you can click the like can you run it thing, and it'll download a program onto your thing, pull your specs up, and then tell you like if you can run the minimum, if you can run the recommended, and if you can run it on high settings. So
okay. And what was that really, called again?
That is called systemrequirementslab.com. Okay. Or if you want to Google it, you can just type can you run it? And then it's the first option that pops up.
Okay.
That was one I've used that like through the years to find out if my rig can run certain things. And it's really nice because a lot of what I find to be issues when I look at the recommended specs or the minimum specs of a video game on their sites when you look through them is they show the Intel CPU, or they will show a specific graphics card. And you're just sitting there like, well, I have this graphics card. Is it equivalent? Is it going to have issues? Like, do I need to have these specific things? It's like, no, you don't have to have those specific things, but you have to like do a cross comparison of those two different things. Like, okay, well, I'm not running a GeForce RTX 3080. I'm running the AMD's like 6900 series or something like that. Like, is it equivalent? Like, is this going to have issues running this game still? Those type of things. But that can you run it just like makes it so much easier. You don't have to do all that cross comparison. It just takes what you have and then compares it up against their thing.
That's awesome. I've never used that. That's awesome. I'm going to recommend that to people to use.
Definitely.
That just takes out all the extra legwork to figure out if your hardware is compatible or at least meets the specs that they list.
Yeah. Definitely that.
Let's see. I had one more question. Oh, yes. What do you think is the biggest bottleneck to gaming these days?
The biggest bottleneck in gaming these days.
Like when someone's like, "Oh wow, I can't run this."
I would say it is. So it's
hard. It's a hard question.
It is really hard to determine because it sometimes it depends on hardware. Sometimes it depends on the game itself too. I'd have to say our biggest bottleneck is the fact that a lot of gaming companies still stick with single thread, like the idea that everybody has an Intel CPU and that everything's working on single thread and they can't utilize the full performance of a multi-threaded CPU. That is my big pet peeve with that. But I'd have to say in the gaming world, it's usually your CPU or graphics card is usually what's holding you back. But yeah.
Linus Tech Tips did a video a long time ago, and they just tried to figure out if they're wrong now. Back then, like DDR3, even DDR4, your RAM speed. I mean, the amount of RAM you have, obviously, I'd say if you're gaming, you want minimum of 16. I mean, you can get away with 8, but I'd say stick with 16 these days.
Because I mean, even Windows 10 uses 8 base, so it's
But like they used to say, like RAM speed didn't matter for gaming, and it didn't back in the day because you couldn't flood the graphics card with it. Now with DDR5, you can get some better performance. You can see that with the higher RAM speed, but most of the time, I say if you got 16 gigs of RAM, you want to look at your CPU, I guess, like you were saying, there's only a few games that use the high core count on these. But now that Intel and AMD are pumping out stuff with more CPU, I would think that the gaming industry would start at least, using 2 to 4 threads if available.
Yeah.
But so far they haven't, but I'm thinking that's going to change. But I think you're right. The GPU, your graphics card, that's where I see most people choking, and especially if they're playing on a laptop. Laptops are hard to play games on sometimes.
Yes.
Unless you have a semi gaming laptop like a Dell XPS or an Alienware. I don't buy an Alienware.
Asus. Yeah, any of
but
those.
Asus and a Razer, any of those games. I mean, those can generally game, not as fast as a desktop because you just don't have the cooling available. But like, that's the biggest thing. I see people like trying to play on their Lenovo laptop that has an Intel built-in graphics card, and they're like, "Why is this so
Intel
slow?" I'm like,
Centrum or whatever,
and I'm like,
single core processor.
That's a great laptop for work. You even got 16 gigs of RAM. Oh, and you got an i7 in it, but it's got the built-in graphics. It's gonna choke and die.
Exactly.
So I generally tell people, if you want to run games, don't buy a laptop unless you absolutely have to. Build your own. There's plenty of build guides. I'll actually link some down below.
Oh yeah.
Of
Just
how to build a gaming rig.
Just stay away from what is it? The View. That was that the one that did a really horrible job of trying to build the computer.
Yeah. No, I don't watch that one.
Yeah. It's not the View. It was Polygon, I think.
Verge.
That's what it was. Verge.
Verge had a
whatever
horrible...
you do, don't watch that. I feel really bad about the guy who was in that and was forced to do what he had to do.
He was on Linus Tech Tips.
Yep, they built
last year, and they built a new PC, and he did it right. Yeah,
yep.
He got a little redemption.
Yes.
But there are
Jay's
2 cents, Jay's 2 cents, Gamers Nexus, Linus Tech Tips, all those guys. They have great build videos and all kinds of stuff. I'll link some. I'll put some links in the description below so we can, at least share some of the fun.
Yeah.
If you get
throw all the different ones in there, anything we've talked about today.
I'll throw some links.
Want to reach out and ask questions about certain games too, of course, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, feel free to reach out. Thank you, Sean. This has been great. And thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you guys. Bye. Bye.